If you're a real Warriors fan living in the US, this video is for you. From coast to coast, America is buzzing after last night's game. Steph Curry just reminded the whole country why he runs the West. What's up, basketball fans? Welcome back to the channel. We've got breaking news that has the NBA world buzzing. Steph Curry, the face of the Golden State Warriors and arguably the greatest shooter in the history of the game, has officially topped Anthony Edwards for one of the league's most talked about distinctions. This isn't just another highlight reel moment. This is a major statement about Curry's continued dominance in an era where younger stars like Anthony Edwards are being pushed as the new faces of the NBA. And let's be honest, we've all been watching the NBA shift in recent years. Stars like LeBron James are entering the twilight of their careers. Kevin Durant, James Harden, even Kawhi Leonard, those guys are still great, but they're no longer the fresh storylines driving headlines every night. Instead, it's the new wave: Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, Victor Wembanyama, Luka Doncic, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The league wants to crown the next superstar, the next global icon who can carry the NBA into its future. And Anthony Edwards, with his swagger, charisma, and explosive game, has been front and center in that conversation. But here's where it gets really interesting. Despite all the hype around Edwards, despite the NBA and major media outlets pushing him as the next big thing, it's Steph Curry who has once again taken the spotlight. Reports from Heavy Sports and other outlets confirm that Curry has officially outshined Edwards for this year's key distinction, proving that even at 37 years old, he's still the player who moves the needle more than anyone else in the league. Now let's break down what this really means. First, the distinction itself. We're not just talking about all-star votes or some minor fan poll. We're talking about a recognition that combines impact, influence, and star power. Anthony Edwards has been seen as the face of the new generation, especially after his electric run with Team USA and his breakout playoff moments with the Minnesota Timberwolves. But Curry's consistency, his marketability, his highlight moments, and most importantly his ability to keep the Warriors relevant even in a tough Western Conference, has put him back on top. This isn't the first time Curry has defied expectations. Think about his journey. When he entered the league, people doubted if his ankles could hold up. Scouts questioned if he was strong enough to handle NBA defenses. Yet here we are, nearly 2 decades later, and Curry isn't just surviving, he's still defining the way basketball is played. His shooting has completely changed the geometry of the game. Defenses have to guard him from 30 feet out, which opens up everything for his teammates. It's no exaggeration to say that without Curry, the modern NBA wouldn't look anything like it does today. Now, when you stack that up against Anthony Edwards, the conversation gets fascinating. Edwards is only 23 years old. He's athletic, he's explosive, he can get to the rim at will, and he's developed a reliable jumper. He's also got that magnetic personality, the type of swagger that fans love to rally around. He's been drawing comparisons to Michael Jordan not necessarily because of his resume yet, but because of the way he carries himself and attacks the game. For him to already be in this conversation shows how quickly he's risen. But here's the kicker: Curry just beat him out. So the question becomes, what does that say about Curry? And what does it say about Edwards? For Curry, it's another reminder that greatness doesn't just disappear with age. People were ready to write him off. The Warriors struggled last season, they were inconsistent, and trade rumors started flying about Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and even whether Curry himself would want to stay if the team fell apart. Yet despite all that, Curry kept performing at an elite level. He had multiple 40-point games, clutch shots, and highlight performances that kept fans glued to their screens. And in terms of overall influence, he's still a bigger name than almost anyone in the league. For Edwards, this isn't a knock. It's actually a challenge. The NBA clearly wants to anoint him as the next face of the league, but being the face means you have to knock off the legends. You don't get handed the crown, you have to take it. And as of right now, Curry is still holding on to that crown. Edwards is learning that being great isn't just about dunks and highlights. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's story is one of those NBA bombshells that makes fans stop scrolling, rub their eyes, and ask, wait, did Kevin Durant really just say no to Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors? That's right, KD, one of the most polarizing and gifted players in NBA history, has reportedly turned down the chance to reunite with his former teammate Stephen Curry in the Bay Area. The basketball world is buzzing, fans are divided, and the question that keeps echoing is simple: why? Why would Durant refuse the opportunity to once again chase championships with the greatest shooter of all time, in a system that once made him nearly untouchable? Let's break this down and take you deep into the drama, the history, and the reasoning behind KD's latest decision. If we rewind the clock, everyone remembers the dominance of the Warriors dynasty between 2016 and 2019. When Durant left Oklahoma City to join a 73-win team already featuring Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, the NBA practically went into shock. Analysts called it unfair, fans labeled him a villain, and opponents admitted it felt hopeless to even try competing with Golden State during those years. And yet Durant thrived. He won 2 championships, 2 Finals MVPs, and cemented himself as one of the greatest scorers in league history. For all the criticism, those years built a legacy. But the cracks were there. The infamous 2018 argument with Draymond Green. The constant questions about whose team it really was, Curry's or Durant's. And then, the Achilles injury in the 2019 Finals, an injury that not only changed Durant's career trajectory but also altered the course of NBA history. When KD decided to leave for Brooklyn, it felt like the divorce between him and Golden State was final. He wanted to prove he could win without Curry, without Kerr, without the Bay's dynasty blueprint. Fast forward to now, and the idea of Durant rejoining the Warriors has once again entered the rumor mill. With Golden State desperately searching for ways to maximize what's left of Curry's prime, whispers began spreading that a reunion could be on the horizon. Could the Warriors trade assets, clear salary space, and bring KD back home? Fans debated it everywhere. Some were excited at the thought of Curry and Durant once again raining threes on helpless defenses, while others thought it would ruin the league all over again. But then came the latest twist. Reports now suggest that Kevin Durant himself is not interested. Despite the Warriors allegedly being open to making moves, KD has apparently rejected the idea of teaming up with Steph again. And this is where things get really interesting. Because the reasoning, the subtext, and the drama all reveal layers about KD's mindset and his complicated relationship with Golden State. First off, there's pride. Kevin Durant has always been hypersensitive to how people perceive him. He hears the noise, he reads the tweets, and he doesn't hide it. One of the biggest criticisms of his career has been that he took the easy path when he joined the Warriors in 2016. To go back now, years later, would almost feel like reliving that narrative. People would say, see? He couldn't win without Curry. He had to crawl back. KD, as much as he might love the idea of playing with Steph again, does not want to give his critics that satisfaction. Second, there's the trust factor. Durant and the Warriors had a messy breakup. Draymond Green's harsh words during that blow-up against the Clippers still linger in memory. We don't need you. We won without you. Even if time has healed some wounds, KD doesn't forget. Returning to the Warriors means putting himself back in a locker room dynamic that once fractured under the weight of egos and pressure. Would he really want to risk that again? Third, there's legacy. Durant has always said he wants to define his career on his own terms. He went to Brooklyn with Kyrie Irving because he wanted to build something fresh. He later joined Phoenix because he wanted to compete with Devin Booker and form a different kind of super team. If he were to return to Golden State, it might feel like an admission that his other experiments didn't work. That's not the kind of ending KD wants. And then there's Steph Curry himself. Let's be real, Steph's legacy has only grown since Durant left. He won another title in 2022, silencing any remaining critics who thought he couldn't do it without KD. Curry is beloved, admired, and respected across the league. If Durant were to rejoin him now, Steph would still be the face of the team, the leader of the dynasty, the man the Bay worships. KD, no matter how good, would once again play second fiddle in terms of fan adoration. That's a tough pill for a superstar of Durant's caliber to swallow. So here we are. The Warriors could use Durant's scoring, his length, his versatility, there's no question about that. Steph is aging, Klay is inconsistent, Draymond is battling his own issues, and the young guys like Kuminga and Moody haven't fully stepped up yet. Adding Durant would instantly make them contenders again. But KD doesn't see it that way. He doesn't want to be Golden State's savior. He wants to prove, even at this stage of his career, that he can write his own story without having to lean on Steph Curry's shine. The reaction online has been fascinating. Warriors fans are split. Some say, good riddance. We don't want KD back anyway. We've got our rings, and Steph doesn't need him. Others are disappointed, saying this could have been the last chance to truly give Curry the help he deserves before retirement. Neutral fans, of course, are loving the drama. Because let's face it, Durant's career has always been must-watch, not just because of his skill set, but because of the chaos and narratives that follow him. And what about Steph? How does he feel about this? Publicly, Steph Curry has always said nothing but good things about KD. He's admitted that those years were special, that KD is one of the greatest teammates he's ever had. But deep down, you have to wonder, did Curry actually want him back? Or is Steph content knowing he's already proven he can do it without him? The Warriors front office might have been interested in KD, but Steph has always been about team chemistry, about trust, about culture. Maybe, just maybe, he prefers to go down swinging with the group he has, rather than restart the KD experiment. What's undeniable is that this rejection will fuel more storylines as the season unfolds. Durant is under immense pressure in Phoenix. The Suns' window is closing fast, and if they don't break through, critics will circle like sharks. Meanwhile, the Warriors are at a crossroads. Can they rebuild on the fly around Curry, or is another seismic move coming? KD saying no closes one door, but it might open another. And don't forget, this is the NBA. Things change fast. Just because Durant has rejected the idea now doesn't mean it's dead forever. We've seen players swear they'd never do something, only to do it months later. KD himself said years ago that he didn't care about legacy, and yet he constantly engages with fans about it online. If circumstances shift, if Phoenix falters, if Golden State makes the right pitch, who knows? Maybe one day the reunion does happen. But for now, it seems KD is standing firm. So the bigger picture is this: Kevin Durant is doubling down on his identity. He doesn't want to be remembered as Curry's sidekick. He doesn't want his final chapters to look like a repeat of 2016. He wants to carve out something that is his own, even if that path is harder, even if it risks ending without another ring. And whether you love KD or hate him, you've got to admit there's something kind of admirable about that stubbornness. But here's the million-dollar question for you guys watching: did Durant make the right call? Should he have swallowed his pride and gone back to the Warriors to chase more rings? Or do you respect him for saying no, for betting on himself yet again, even if it costs him more championships? Drop your thoughts down below, because this story is far from over. The NBA is a soap opera, and Durant is one of its leading actors. One thing's for sure: Steph Curry and the Warriors will keep fighting with or without KD. And Kevin Durant will keep trying to prove that his legacy belongs to him, and him alone. And with that, we'll wrap this up. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more explosive NBA news, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a single update. This is one of the biggest what-ifs of the season, and you better believe we'll be here to cover every twist and turn. Until next time, stay tuned, stay locked in, and we'll see you on the next video. It's about sustaining excellence night after night, season after season, while carrying the weight of expectations and delivering in the biggest moments. Let's also look at the fan perspective. Around the world, Curry's jersey is still one of the top sellers. Kids still line up hours before games just to catch a glimpse of his pre-game warm-up routine. His influence on grassroots basketball is unmatched. Go to any local gym, and you'll see kids pulling up from way beyond the three-point line, shouting Curry. as they let it fly. That's cultural impact that Edwards, as great as he is, hasn't built yet. He's on his way, but Curry's foundation is already cemented. Another layer to this story is how Curry continues to carry the Warriors brand. Golden State might not be the same dynasty that won 3 championships in 4 years, but they are still one of the most talked about teams in the NBA because of Curry. Every game he plays is must-watch television. Compare that to Edwards, who's trying to put Minnesota on the map. The Timberwolves are becoming more relevant, no doubt, but they don't have the global following the Warriors do. That matters when distinctions like this are handed out. And let's not forget the narrative element. Curry's story is one of perseverance, loyalty, and revolution. Edwards' story is one of raw talent and potential. Fans love both, but Curry's journey resonates because we've seen it unfold for over a decade. We've seen him grow, dominate, fall short, bounce back, and prove himself again and again. That longevity builds a connection that's hard to match. The media angle is also important. Heavy Sports reported on Curry topping Edwards, but this story is spreading like wildfire across NBA circles. Analysts are pointing out that this is proof the league isn't ready to move on from Curry just yet. Social media is buzzing with fans debating whether Edwards will truly be able to surpass Curry's influence anytime soon. Some are even suggesting that this year could be a passing of the torch season, but only if Edwards can take another leap in the playoffs. Think about it, last year, Edwards had an incredible playoff run, including that unforgettable 40-point performance against Denver. He looked like a superstar in the making. But Curry has an entire decade of playoff dominance, including iconic finals performances, game-winning shots, and 4 championship rings. The contrast is stark. Now, what does this mean moving forward? For the Warriors, it's reassurance that their franchise centerpiece is still elite. For all the talk about Jonathan Kuminga's development, Draymond Green's future, and whether the team should chase another superstar, this recognition proves Curry is still the guy. As long as he's playing at this level, Golden State will always have a chance to compete. For the Timberwolves, and for Edwards personally, it's motivation. He's already one of the most explosive young players in the game, but if he wants to truly surpass Curry, he'll need to lead Minnesota deep into the playoffs, maybe even to the finals. That's how legends are made. That's how you go from being the next big thing to actually being the face of the league. It also makes this upcoming season one of the most intriguing in recent memory. On one hand, you have veterans like Curry, LeBron, Durant, and others still trying to prove they belong at the top. On the other, you've got Edwards, Luka, Shai, Wemby, and the new wave trying to take over. The clash of generations is going to define the NBA over the next couple of years, and stories like Curry topping Edwards for this distinction are just the beginning. At the end of the day, this moment is about respect. Respect for Curry, who continues to prove doubters wrong and solidify his legacy. And respect for Edwards, who is already pushing the conversation at such a young age. But make no mistake, the headline today is clear: Stephen Curry, even in the later stages of his career, still tops the rising stars of the NBA. And if you asked me, that's the beauty of the league right now. We're witnessing history with Curry while also getting a glimpse of the future with Edwards. It's not an either-or situation, it's both. But when it comes to distinctions like this one, Curry's greatness still wins out. So what do you think, basketball fans? Did Curry deserve to top Edwards here, or do you think the NBA should start leaning harder into the next generation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this debate isn't going away anytime soon. And with that, this has been your breaking news update. Stephen Curry tops Anthony Edwards for a major NBA distinction, proving once again that the baby-faced assassin isn't ready to give up his throne just yet.